Yo, what up? It's your boy Chris with The Ignorance is Free. And just before we get into this video, I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank everyone for their continued support. And if you haven't done so already, definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, with that being said, let's talk about Jay-Z and Drake. Or is it Drake and Jay-Z? I mean, I guess it really depends on who you as a fan, as a consumer, favor more in 2016. Now, these two have a very checkered history. I mean, at one point they're boys, they're fucking circle jerking, and the next point you look at them, they're like two little 14-year-old girls fighting over the boy in the fucking classroom. I mean, it's ridiculous. Personally, I think they're doing this just so we can talk about it. I think they're laughing their asses off right now about the whole situation. So, what situation? I'm talking about Jay-Z taking shots at Drake on DJ Khaled's new single, I Got the Keys. Now, if you haven't heard this record, the record's fire. It's featuring Future as well. The link is in the description, so definitely check it out. Now, like I said, these guys have a checkered past together, checkered history. And before I get into, present day as to what's going on, I want to give you guys a little history lesson on these two fuckers. Now, Drake and Jay-Z's quote unquote rivalry as big brother, little brother, is something that, was taken, or rather started all the way back to Drake's verse on I'm the One. So on the, not I'm the One, but I'm on one rather. Now on this track, he has a line where he's like, I'm just feeling like the throne is for the taking. Now watch me take it. Now, this line came out around the time when Hove and Kanye West's Watch the Throne album was actually out. So Watch the Throne, Jay and Kanye saying, yo, the throne is ours. You could just fucking sit there and watch it. And Drake's rhyming like, yo, the throne is for the taking. I'm gonna take that shit. Now, obviously, that kind of lit up social media, and people were again saying, what the fuck are you thinking, Drake? You're cool. You ain't there yet. Drake responded on Twitter by saying, Hove this. Hove of all people have not lost it. That's God body flow. So then we fast forward, and these two niggas is still working together. Right? So obviously they collabed for the first time on Drake's debut album, Thank Me Later, or where they collabed on that record, Light It Up. And then, a few years later, Drake comes out with Nothing Was the Same, and they collab again on Pound Cake, Paris Morton Music, another dope record. So essentially, Hove's pretty much co-signing Drake officially. And in Hove's eyes, when he co-signs you officially, he's the big homie, you the little homie. Now, with all the momentum behind Drake at this point, Drake is probably looking at the situation like, lil homie, nigga, I got the culture with me. You can't fuck with me. I respect and I thank you for everything you've done for me, but lil homie, I don't think so. We on the same level. And he makes this very clear in Double XL's 150th issue. Now, yes, Drake had the line on the I'm on one record where he's talking about the throne. But what really kind of set this off, this whole little feud between the two of them, this whole little girl fight, is when he did the feature in Rolling Stone magazine. He says it's like Hove can't drop bars these days without making at least 4 art references. He continues to say, I would love to collect some art too. At some point, but I think this whole rap art world thing is getting kind of corny. So, and I mean, honestly, not to really choose sides because I personally don't give a fuck, but honestly, it is corny. I don't give a fuck about art. I mean, not saying if you're into art, great. If you want to get into art, that's fucking good for you, but I can't relate to that shit. The only art that I got hanging up on my fucking wall is like a Malcolm X poster. I got like a Tupac and Biggie poster as well. And to me, that's fucking art. I can't relate to the Picassos and all the other shit that I can't fucking pronounce. Now, obviously, Hove took offense to this. He responded on Jay Electronica's remix of We Made It, rapping, sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Drizzy, for so much art talk. Silly me, rapping about shit that I actually bought. Drake then responds with a little quick jab on his record Draft Day, where he raps, just hits, no misses, that's just for the married folk. So, whatever. They had their little interactions and their little 1-2s on social media with the basketball games and everything else where the Raptors were facing the Brooklyn Nets and whatever. They kind of just, died down. Again, they just went back to the circle jerk. Now, fast forward to the I Got the Keys record. Okay, and this is where Jay-Z does his thing and he responds. Now, this response to Drake was nothing what we just recently talked about. Drake actually put out a record called Summer 16. And on the record, he says, I used to want to be on Rockefeller, then I turned into Jay. Obviously, rubbing Jay the wrong way again. And on the I Got the Keys record, Jay basically says, niggas always asking me the key. Till you own your own, you can't be free. Till you're on your own, you can't be me. How we still slaves in 2016. So this is pretty much how he opens up his first verse. So again, the cat fight fucking continues. So the whole thing about this and what people have always consistently said again is, well, for starters, this is good. This is good for hip hop. It's entertaining and I fucking love it. I could watch it all day long. But my whole thing is, again, people are saying, hey, Drizzy, you're on your way. You're the hottest fucking artist right now in the game. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't Hove. You ain't Hove. And the reality is he's not. But I don't think that's it, though. I don't think that's where Drake is actually saying that I'm Hove. Because if you compare Drake to Hove right now, no competition. Hove has done way too fucking much for there even to be a comparison. But you have to understand, Hove has had a head start. Hove's been in the game for fucking decades. You understand what I'm saying? Drake has only been in this motherfucker for 7 years. So if you kind of look at the 7 years from when Jay dropped his first album, Reasonable Doubt, in 96, and when you look at the 7 years from when Drake dropped his first EP, So Far Gone, in 2001. So we'll say 7 years for Drake, but in 2001, look at the numbers. And if you were Drake and you were crunching the numbers, and you know that Jay-Z is a numbers man, because what does he say? Men lie, women lie, numbers don't, right? So if you look at the numbers and you were Drake, wouldn't you kind of be thinking the same thing? What am I talking about? So basically, 7 years after Hove dropped his original album, he sold 23.5 million records. When Drake dropped his first EP, 7 years later, really 6 and change, but we'll just say 7, he sold 43.5 million records. Now, both of these numbers are including singles, of course. Now, one thing that you also have to understand as to why Drake would be feeling this way, not only did he almost double the amount of records that he sold, and well, the reality is in less time, not by a lot, but still less, the climate is totally different. When, like in the first 7 years with Hove, niggas was still buying albums. Okay? Niggas was still buying albums. Now, not so fucking much. Yes, he does have streaming. There is streaming, and that's pretty much what's dominating right now. And that's obviously what's helping Drake's sales. But the reality is, man, is both of these numbers are calculated in terms of singles and album sales. Now, yes, with the internet, it is a lot easier for streaming because it's a lot more accessible than having to go to a store and actually buying an album. So one can actually argue that. But the reality is niggas just ain't buying albums anymore. Okay, so niggas just ain't buying shit like that anymore. So I mean, this is a real number, and Drake's almost doubled that. Okay, let's look at it a little bit further. Okay, so Jay obviously had Rockefeller Records. He had a slew of artists, which I'm not going to go through all the names, right? But very highly successful artists. Drake has OVO Records. So he also has his own record label, just like Jay-Z. Now, remember, when Jay-Z had Rockefeller Records, he wasn't on his own. He owned that shit with Biggs. He owned that shit with Dame, right? And just like, just like Drake's imprint, OVO, he doesn't own that on his own either. So right now, Jay is in a good space years later, okay? Drake could potentially get there. There's a lot of work that Drake has to do to get to the same space that Jay-Z is in right now. Is it possible with the momentum? Can Drake actually? Of course. In my opinion, of course. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make is when Drake is, saying all these things, dropping all these little lines or whatever like that in social media or on records, I think he's completely able to say that because he's just looking at the timeline. Drake is not an idiot. He's not comparing himself to where he's at right now, to where Hov is at right now, because there's no contest. But the reality is if you look at the 7 years Hov was in the game and you look at the 7 years, well, just shy of 7 years, Drake was in the game, Drake is kind of surpassing what Hov did. So he's on track to be in the same space. If Drake does the right kind of deals, the right kind of moves, puts out the right kind of music, stays consistent, he could definitely achieve Hov-like status. I think it's possible. All right, so that's just my 2 cents. I definitely want to hear yours. Who are you feeling more right now? Do you still think that Hov's got it? Do you still think Hov is the God MC that he once was back when the Blueprint came out? You know what I mean? Or do you think that he just needs to put the mic down, stay on the business side? It's basically Drake's time. Or on the flip side, do you just basically think that Drake is just better overall, period, point blank, and Hov really shouldn't be responding? So again, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Definitely put it in the comments. Make sure you guys absolutely subscribe to the channel. You guys definitely keep me inspired to keep on making these videos. So make sure you subscribe and also follow me on Twitter at I'm Chris Green. For the ignorance is free. I'm out. Biatch.